What's going on, Internet? Iron Jordan here. So, as you can see, we are on the Dragon Ball Super card game official website. This morning at midnight, we actually had the Banlist announcement, and this is the one that they promised us would come on the 17th, so they actually pushed it 24 hours ahead. But this is the one that they promised us would be coming, and that it would be wide sweeping. They said that it would hit quite a lot of cards. Now, all full disclosure, I'm recording this after I get home from work in the afternoon on the ban list announcement day. I'm not doing this in reaction live like a lot of other YouTubers did, mostly because I was asleep when this happened. So I had to go to work in the morning and I'm on the East Coast. So I did not get to do a live reaction, although I wanted to. So I have already been privy to, I've already seen this list. I have thoughts about it already, but I want to go through card by card on the official site and talk to you guys about what's going on. So when we scroll down to the banned cards, the very first card that we're going to see is Beerus Godly Majesty. This is pretty welcome in my opinion. This card was very free. It is the definition of like the free aggro that Bandai was trying to steer away from on this ban list. I think this is an excellent hit. You could like topo, discard this card, and then play it for free. You could do a lot of different things, like as long as it was discarded off a battle card, because this was already I think this was already errated once. But as long as it's discarded off a battle card skill, you could play this card. So I I think that this is an excellent hit. I would have loved to see more of this, and we'll get into that as we go on, but I would love to see more free battle cards get hit, especially one in particular. Pan, Great Ape Whisper. This is another one of those free battle cards. I actually didn't really have this on my radar, but it's mostly because I haven't played a lot of against a lot of Sin aggro, Sin Shinron aggro, that is. But I've heard that this is devastating, and I can see why, obviously. Like, it's not leader locked to a GT leader. If it was, this card wouldn't even be on the radar. But it allows Sin Shinron to, like, hey, I'm going to kill you on turn 2, and also here's a Cell Zeno, and yeah, that's not very good. So I'm really glad nobody at my locals was playing this, but I could also see how it's very oppressive. Like the play line's very straightforward. So very very glad. This does kill Sin aggro along with the thing that we're going to talk about later, the errata we're going to talk about later. But it's actually probably a good thing because Sin is still a good deck. It just needs to go into the more like control variant. So you know what, this hit good, I guess. Like I said, I hadn't seen a lot of it, but it was a problem. So just because I don't see it doesn't mean that that's not a problem. So moving on, Father Son Kamehameha, Goku and Gohan. Thank God. Oh my God, Bandai. Thank you. Everyone hates this card except for the people that play it, and even the people that play it hate it. This leader, when it came out in like set 8 or 9, I think it was set 9. It was one of the reboot leaders for set 9. I played this in 2 local tournaments. Went undefeated in both of them and never played this leader again because it was not fun, right? It is not fun to play against. It is not fun to play. This leader is not fun. If you find fun in this, I don't know what you're like. You like winning is probably what it is, because this leader does not interact with anybody. It forces you to play a different style of game. You have to main deck cards that, like, it's really dumb. And the fact that this leader was still winning a lot in best of 3 and still consistently killing on turn 2 in best of 3 just shows you how degenerate like having your leader be an entire win con by itself is. So I'm really really glad this is gone. I know a lot of other people are. Good riddance to bad rubbish in this card's case. So yeah, as somebody who, like I said, played this a little bit, took this to 2 locals and was like, man, that was not fun. Walked away with prize cards. That was not fun. Thank God this card is gone. I absolutely hate this card. It made me not when I sat across from somebody who was playing this, I just wanted to put my deck up because, like, even if I won the game, it wasn't because I did anything. It's because I sat there and I didn't play and let them kill themselves. And then, yeah, that's not fun for anybody. Universe 9 is simple. This is our first problem. This is our first problem, right? Um, Universe 9 is not the problem with Mecha Frieza. Mecha Frieza is the problem with Mecha Frieza. Like, we're at a point where they're banning a card that is pay 2 draw 2, play a guy, right? And that's still pretty good. Like, it's a good card, especially for the U9 deck. But now you're hitting a card that is meant for another archetype because a broken, busted leader is warping the way that extra cards work, right? So why not ban Mecha Frieza or errata Mecha Frieza? Even if you errated Mecha Frieza to a hard once per turn on playing extra cards, you can only play one extra card period per turn. This card would probably still be fine. And this card is still fine. In the future, Mecha will have to be taken care of at some point. It'll have to be banned, it'll have to be errated, they'll have to do something to it. And then I pray that this card comes off the ban list when that happens, because this just doesn't make any sense to me. This is my first big, so like these first three, excellent. Good job, Bandai. Excellent, fantastic job. This card should not ever have sniffed the ban list. As like people are talking about banning Bean or limiting Bean. Why? What is Bean realistically doing if you're not playing it inside of Mecha Frieza? Mecha Frieza is the problem. I think that the rest of this, yeah, that's old. So we're gonna go back up to the top and we're gonna look at the limited cards. So limited, heartfelt plea. If this was leader locked, same thing with Pan. If this card was leader locked, I don't think that it would be, a problem because Dark Broly is the deck playing this. So like, you know, if this was GT only, like if this was a red or yellow GT only, or even just I don't know, man, because then you'd cut out like the Beerus decks that were playing it, but even then, like the Beerus deck is not even really being played. So talking about the red Beerus from set 8. So I don't know, like this card is very good, and at the time it was hyper degenerate, and if you could play red, you played this card. But yeah, now you have Dark Broly not charging a single red energy. Maybe I think that this card would be way better if you had to have if the card had to be, man, I don't know, because the card already has to be red, right? You know, maybe if you have a certain amount of red energy, maybe you have to have like 2 or 3 red energy, and that way it still covers the multicolor. I think this card, there's a universe where this card is completely fine because this card did nothing for, you know, after after set 8, it really didn't do a lot until Dark Broly. And then Dark Broly got access to the starter deck card, which allowed them to play this. So I don't know. I don't love this, but I understand why it's here. I liked Heartfelt Plea a lot. I used to play a lot of Beerus back in set 8. People know that. But yeah, no. I mean, this card being limited is fine. Like you'll still play it, and I guess you can play a GT dedicated like Goku deck that plays this card and tries to find it like with searchers. But you know, Bardock the Resolute. This card should have just been banned. Honestly, in all seriousness, this card should have just been banned. This card caused a lot of havoc, and it already received. I think it already received like a rulings clarification where like critical or like I don't know, double strike and stuff aren't considered skills. Placed in a drop area by a skill. So okay, yeah, I think critical does count, but the other stuff doesn't. Um, yeah. I don't know. Like I said, we already received a ruling clarification on this when this card first came out in set. I think it was set 12 or 11. I don't quite remember. BT10. It's right there on the thing. I should read. It's right there. We did receive a ruling clarification on this card when it first came out because like Pilaf was abusing this card, and it was one of the things that made like Pilaf good in that format where you could only play set 10 cards. But yeah, I mean, like I think this card should just go. It's one of those free aggro cards, and they have access to one of it. So like when they see it, it's going to be like really bad, like big bad feels. It needs to attack twice because you're going to negate something. It's just Drum Reign of Terror. I hate this. I don't play King Piccolo. Like full discretion, I have never played King Piccolo. I've played against it. We have a guy at our locals who plays it very well. Shout outs to Curtis for being an excellent player and an excellent dude. But like there was no reason to limit this card. This card, if you slap unique on this card, I think that is completely fine. So like the Bardock limit, I'm fine with. The Goku limit, I'm fine with. This card being limited, there's going to be times where you see this is probably the best like in archetype card for the King Piccolo because like the Unison is not technically in the archetype and neither is King Piccolo New Ruler. But this card is the best archetypal card probably in the archetype, right? Or maybe like the negate is the one from the TP. But this is one of your best cards, and there's gonna be games now where this is limited to one, and you're never gonna see it. I know that they have cards that search and they draw a lot, but I don't know. I think unique just takes care of this, or even having the auto be limit one on just this one. I think it would have been completely fine. I don't like this. A little too harsh for King Piccolo. If I was Bandai, I would change this, but they're probably not going to because they don't want to admit they're wrong. Bergamo, this is here, I guess. I mean, I know why it's here. It's to prevent you from tapping your opponent out like on offense or like on defense. You know, tapping down your opponent's energy feels real bad. Honestly, if they wanted to prevent that though, I probably would just ban this card. I don't think this is probably the weakest card that they limited. When it comes to like all this other stuff, this and drum both kind of like head scratchy a little bit, but like I get it. So I'm not upset or disappointed or happy about this. I'm very like ambivalent about this limit. It feels like you won't have four of it, so you won't. It'll feel better when you play against yellow. But as a yellow player myself, like I mean I didn't play a lot of this in a lot of different decks, so hey, maybe the price will go down now, and I'll just buy a bunch of them and just throw one in every yellow deck. That seems fun, I guess. Uh, and then the rest is the Hope of Universe 7. So as far as stuff they missed on the ban portion, there's only one card, and it was King Piccolo, the new ruler. I think that if they really want to steer away from like the free play aggro stuff, that they definitely needed to ban King Piccolo or like limit King Piccolo. So especially since it's a draft bots card too, so like we hate draft boxes in this house. But yeah, no, I think King Piccolo should have gone. That's my one gripe about what they quote missed, and then the Mecha Frieza, not being touched, the leader. Those are my two gripes. Those are my two gripes. I guess the third one would be that Red Broly is probably just the best deck in the format now, and Red Broly just has like one of those things where it's like, hey man, did I draw my God Hand? Well, you can't do anything about it because I'm gonna rip like 7 cards out of your hand on turn 3 or 4, and I'm just gonna kill you because for some reason this aggro deck that also deals critical damage that plays guys super cheap. For some reason, it also rips cards out of your hand. Okay, all right, Bandai. I'm not salty about it. On the errata side, we have Videl. This is just a rules clarification. You have to. It makes it so you have to switch a unison to rest mode. I don't know how I feel about Videl. We're gonna be going over this because I really like this set a lot, and so we're gonna go through every color. I'm gonna do a video for each color probably in set 14 whenever the whole list gets put on the official website, which we are not quite there yet. But I'm going to go through color by color and talk about every single card in every single color, doing a video per each and stuff like that. I liked Videl a lot. I just don't know if I I just don't know if she'll be. I don't think she's as good as the other like 5K frontside, 10K bat side leaders. Like Launch, very good. Hercule, very good at the time. Bulma, still good, right? So if you're a 5K front, 10K back, you have to do kind of something insane. And I think that having to rely on the spirit boost to play guys for free feels kind of not good. So, but I haven't tested with this yet. It's all just speculation for me. But I will be building this deck for sure because Videl's one of my favorite characters. So yeah. Moving on from that pointless errata, well, not pointless, but clarification errata. Cell Zeno. I wish that this was more. I hate this card so much. You don't know how many times I've been in a like grind game with somebody at locals or like somewhere else, big tournament, like whatever, and it's been like, all right, cool. I have complete control over this game, right? It is going long. They got no cards in hand. They have a little bit of field presence, but I'm locking them out, and it is just great, right? And then they just go, Cell Zeno, and they happen to hit the 3 negates that I'm holding. It's like, oh, cool. I guess I just die. Luckily, they did stop you from dying on this before turn 5. So you're just going to die to this on turn 5 now. So what this errata actually does is that it removes quadruple strike from the text spots of the card, of the keywords of the card, and then it puts it on the auto. So when you have 5 energy and you play it on 5 energy and you get the rest of the auto, it gains quad strike on top of the dual attack. So you only get the dual attack, you only get the quad strike if you have 5 energy. So I personally feel like this should have been if your opponent has 5 energy. That way, if you know your opponent's playing this card, you can keep them off of it, or at least off the discard and the quad strike. So I would have liked that more. I really hate this card. I think this card is still incredibly powerful, which I guess is the point of the errata, is that they wanted to keep it incredibly powerful. I just hate that this card has deflect and just does everything under the sun. Like, oh, deflect, quad strike, dual attack. So you can't interact with the play of it, and it kills you as soon as you play. As soon as your opponent plays it, it kills you, and it rips cards out of your hand to prevent you from having answers. So the thing is that like the cell deck, the multicolored cell deck that plays this is completely unaffected by this. This is mostly for the Sen Shenron and other decks that would play this on before turn 5 and just use it as a quad strike 40k deflect beater, which was very good. And it basically took the reason away to play this before turn 5. So I wish they would have done more to this, but it's a secret rare, so they want to keep it playable and they want to keep it powerful. It's still like incredibly good. It still wins games. But now I guess there's a space to decide do I actually want to play this? Are the games going to actually go to 5? Stuff like that, right? Majin Quickening. I'll be honest. I didn't even know this card existed because I hadn't played against Majin Vegeta that much. I think I played against like once or twice, and the guy at our locals that plays it, when I played him like back when this came out in set 11, he didn't play Majin Quickening, or if he did, I didn't see it. So yeah, I mean, apparently they're using this to go into the 4-drop Boo from the ultimate deck, and the ultimate deck Boo is basically winning in the game on like turn 1 or 2. So it means you have to do it on turn 3 now, and that's what this does. You have to have 3 energy. Good errata, I guess. Like I said, I hadn't run into this that much, but just because I don't run into it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. So excellent, good errata, I guess. So far, I like all the erratas. Like I said, I wish they would have touched Cell Zeno more, but is what it is. All right, Dark Broly and Paradis. So the activate battle just on the bat side is now a hard once per turn. So you can now combo your 0 or your 0+0 Ks only once per turn. Cool. I don't know if that hurts Dark Broly at all. We'll see. To be determined on that, because they have all the new 30k black battle cards are all like 0+5Ks. If they were 1+10Ks, it might would make a difference, but they're all 0+5Ks to my knowledge. So like all the Gogeta Xenos and the Goku Xenos and the Vegito Xenos that this deck is playing, just it doesn't matter. So I guess you'll reduce the amount of the 0+0Ks that you play, probably, and then just load up on the other cards. And so maybe Dark Broly is slower, maybe it's untouched. Who knows? We'll see. Uh, don't know how to feel about this. I kind of just hate this leader, man. It's one of those. It's one of those where if it gets to like fulfill its game plan, it just goes wide and goes tall and rips cards out of your hand and kills your guys, and it just doesn't feel fun to play against. I hate this leader so much. At first, like the whole when we were going over this, I was like, oh, this leader sucks, right? When BT11 was first like announced and shown off, I was like, oh, this leader sucks, right? And to be fair, for the first little bit, people were like, oh, the deck has potential, but like you have to be a good pilot and it doesn't really have a lot of support. And they kept giving it more and more support, and then it just became like a tier 1 mega threat. And yeah, I'm not eating that sock. I'm sorry, guys. Mostly because I found out that if you eat a sock, it will kill you. So I'm sorry to let you down on that. Shoutouts to that old video. We have a quality of life errata on this Unison. This is for Meki Kabura, I think. So now you just have to have a black demon race leader to. I mean, it doesn't really change the card that much. It just means it can't be abused down the line. Cat Blow. All right, Bandai, I love this. I hate Invokers so much. It is the least interactive deck aside from like, well, I don't know, it might even be less interactive than Baby, where it's like, hey man, nice 6 life you got there. It would be a shame if you could do nothing about me burning all 6 of it from you. Ooh. Ooh, Goku's my best friend. Ooh. I do think this does absolutely kill the burn version of Invoker though, because limit 1 is kind of rough. It means you can burn for 3, I think, on Invoker's power turn instead of burning for 6. Which let's be fair. Limit 2 probably would have been fine because then you can burn for 4. You can actually kill somebody if they're at 4 life, you know? But I guess like they'll probably look. Invoker still has a good core around it. It's just this was an insanely uninteractive, unfair win condition. Um, and the entire deck was just survive until you kill, like survive until like turn 4 or 5 where you can kill them. They also still have a victory strike, an archetypal victory strike. So I think Invoker will be fine. I just hate this card a lot. I'm glad it's gone. I can't tell you how many times I played against like actually bad players that were playing Cat Blow. This is Super Johns here, by the way. My inner fighting game player is coming out. I don't know how many times I could tell you I played against like a bad player that brought Invoker to the table, and I was like, I don't know if my deck is fast enough to kill them before they do the thing. You know, like if I was playing like a mid range or a control deck, I don't know if I could kill this guy before he cat blows me 5 times in a turn, burning me for an extra one on the first time. But yeah, I'm glad this card is limit 1. It'll never see play ever again. Well, I don't know. Maybe they still play it just to get cheeky, just get cheeky burn damage. If they can, like, you're at 5, they push through damage and they burn you for 3. That could be how the deck goes in the direction. We'll see. Like I said, I think Invoker will still be fine. They just this as a uninteractive win con is now gone, which is good. Vegets still the best black leader in the game. So instead of burst 5 on the front, he's burst 3. Now, instead on the back of milling 5 cards, you mill 3. He's still probably the best black leader in the game right now because he's still a black Saiyan that mills to get free advantage. He also puts his deck back into the deck or discard pile back into the deck still, and he can still give one of your unisons double strike. So I don't see Vegets going away anytime soon. I agree with a lot of other people. I think this card should just be banned. It's a structure deck card, so they don't want to ban it. But like at the same time, it's a structure deck card. You're gonna have to look up the errata anyway as a new player. Like if you're trying to like protect new players, then why errata this card? You know, like if you bring it to the table, either way, they're gonna go, oh, burst 5, and somebody's go, oh, well, it's burst 3, and they're gonna go, what? Well, it doesn't say that. You're gonna have to pull up the errata. It would be the same thing if the card was banned. You could go like, oh well, here's my Vegets. It's like, oh no, man, that card's banned. Here, let me give you an SS4 leader. You know, that way you don't have to worry about it. But I digress. I think this card should just go. I mean, maybe it'll be fine with the burst 3. Obviously, it's Vegets, so like, never dig this card's grave. Right? It never count this card out. It has always been it's gotten how many cards banned or limited now, or how many cards has Vegets been single handedly, responsible for, forcing an errata on or getting banned or whatever. I'll never count this card out until it's done. I think that might be that's the last thing. So again, just to kind of wrap it up, I think Mecha needed to go as a leader or be errata instead of U9. Uh, it would keep the Bergamo deck more playable and it would prevent future problems because we know that Bandai is going to mess up at some time in the future and print a good extra card that Frieza can abuse aside from U9. It's just going to happen, like 100% guaranteed. Come back to this video when it does. I told you so. There you go. I think Red Broly needed to be touched because, like, if we're talking about aggro, Red Broly just kind of takes the spot as the best aggro deck, most likely. To be determined if Dark Broly and Vegets have been hit enough. We will see. I don't think so, but we will see. And Blue didn't get touched, but I don't know if Blue needed to be touched. People were complaining about Blue Baby, but like Blue Baby has so many silver bullets that like I think Bandai already touched that deck. Every single color has a silver bullet that they can play 4 of that says, "Hey, did you untap your energy with the counter? Die." You know. So, yeah, that's it for the video. I'm quite entertained by this list. I do think overall Bandai did a good job to rein in the format. I think that having a pretty big list is better than not having any list at all. I just think they missed the mark. I would give this ban list an 80. I think this ban list had potential to be like a 90 or a 100 out of 100. I think this is like an 80, like a 78. It's passing for sure, but it's not perfect. Like there was definitely some more work they could have done. But I appreciate you guys watching the video. Let me know if you guys enjoyed it. What do you think about the ban list? Let me know in the comments below. I would love to see what you guys' thoughts on this are. Did your favorite deck get hit? None of the decks I play personally, because I mostly play trash. None of the decks I personally play actually got hit, which was nice, but they never were because the best deck that I play is like mono red launch. So I don't think I was ever in any danger. But I digress. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm going to stop rambling. I will see you in the next one.